everybody. I'm Stacy.
And I'm her daughter, Mickey.
And welcome to KiddieNomics! Yay! It is KiddieNomics Kids Financial Literacy Friday. So you are back for another super fun, super exciting session of KiddieNomics. We have a very impressive speaker today. We have Miss Gloria, and we're going to be talking about taxes. Yeah. It's tax season here in Canada, and we are going to start off with talking about taxes in January. But before we do, let me do my housekeeping items. All right, I'm going to start off with something different today. I'm going to welcome, of course, all the new kiddies that have joined us today on KiddieNomics. Welcome to KiddieNomics, and we are super excited to have you. And of course, we'd always like to thank all of the returning kiddies for joining back on KiddieNomics again, week after week. We love you for being here. So you know what? I'm going to start off this week by doing like a roll call. So in the chat box, tell me what country you are joining us from today. I'm gonna give you guys a few seconds to type that in.
The ocean.
The ocean, that's the country. Let's see. Let me see. Canada. Ontario, which is in Canada. Yes, Canada. Let me see, do we have any countries outside of Canada joining us today? Let's see if we have anybody outside.
Whoa, we have Britain.
Hi, Micah from Britain. Yay. Tulu, Canada. Yay. Canada in the house this week representing. Yay. Mustafa, Canada. Awesome. All right, so let's get started. So if you are new to KiddieNomics, because we did get a whole bunch of signups this week for KiddieNomics. So if you're new, welcome. All of the kiddies will be super nice. We are a very kind and caring community here on KiddieNomics. So the kiddies will say hi and we'll chat in the chat box. So let me just give you some details of what KiddieNomics is, right? So KiddieNomics is here to help kids ages 8+ to develop a healthy relationship towards financial literacy, helping to start kids off on the right path to have a successful financial future. That's what we want for you. That's what I want for her. That's what she wants for me. So we are here to learn so that we can have these skills as you guys get older to be able to know what is the good things to do, the healthy things to do to have a great financial future. So let me do some housekeeping items before we get into Miss Gloria's presentation. Please remember that every single KiddieNomics webinar is recorded. So we are recording this one and it will be posted on our KiddieNomics YouTube channel. And I will post it by 8 p.m. tonight, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for anybody watching it back. So if you do miss anything or maybe I missed a question, you can always watch back any one of our webinars, include this one, including all of our other webinars that we've hosted. So if you check out our KiddieNomics YouTube channel, you will find all of our past webinars there also, okay? Now, please remember that we cannot see or hear you, the kids, the attendees, okay? So in order to chat to us, you have to chat to us through the chat box down below or up above. Like mine is up above, but yours may be down below, or to the side. So if you have any questions or to answer some of the quizzes and fun games and stuff that we have, please type it in the chat box. If you do have a question and you do raise your hand, that's fine. You can raise your hand, but please remember to type the question in the chat box. Otherwise, I won't know what you're asking, right? We also like to keep a very safe community here on KiddieNomics. We did have a wonderful webinar with Miss Hadriana Leah where we talked about online money money smarts. So always remember, please do not share any of your personal information on KiddieNomics, like not your phone number, your address, none of that, right? Like we don't share any of that stuff on KiddieNomics. You want to keep it fun and safe for you as we go through each and every week. Okay, all right, so let's get started with Miss Gloria. So Miss Gloria Kapuku, she's a CPA. She's the president and founder of New Ages Consulting, Inc. She's intelligent, career-focused, and determined accountant with a double CPA qualification. From the DCR, Africa, Gloria graduated high school at the age of 16 and embarked into a journey filled with excitement and passion in accounting and finance. Earned her education in Europe. So hey to Micah in Britain, right? She earned her education in Europe, and within 8 years, Gloria gained 4 professional qualification designations: CPA in Ireland, CPA in Canada, and the CGA in Ontario, and accounting technician. And she holds 2 degrees, a bachelor's honors degree and a master's degree. Can I just say how super impressive we are with Miss Gloria? So we welcome Miss Gloria on KiddieNomics. Big KiddieNomics welcome. All right, Miss Gloria, I will leave it with you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours. 1 second. There we are. Hi, Miss Gloria.
Hi, thank you for having me, Stacy, and hi, Mickey. It's a pleasure to be here. And before we get started, I do have a small surprise for everybody, right? So I thought this would be really, really cool and fun.
Woo.
Because I'm holding here the book. I don't know if you can see it properly, but this book here, this nice big book, it's even bigger than the Bible. It's the Canada Income Tax Act book. So this little Missy here, it has all of the Canada Acts since day one until recent, all right? So just in case you wondered how the books look like, this is it, nice and thick.
That is very thick.
Oh yeah, and the funny thing is most of the acts, about 90% of the acts, they're still relevant until today. So I use this as a reference. So it's pretty cool to have one of those books. All right, so I will start off with my presentation over here and share my screen with everybody.
Awesome.
Okay, so at any time, if anybody has any question, feel free to ask. We're here for you. Okie dokie, here we are. So income tax for kids. All right. Okay, so just quickly, credential. For some reason, I fell in love with accounting and tax. Although my parents wanted me to become a doctor, I just found numbers fun and exciting. So I earned most of my educations from Ireland. That's where I grew up. And then after that, I decided to explore other continents, if not other countries. So I decided to also get another degree in corporate taxation to understand the American perspective, because I had the European experience and perspective. And then after that, I decided to come to Canada. That's where I am right now. And of course, I continued on to become a CPA. So they were kind enough to accept all of my prior credentials. So I only had to write 2 exams, law and taxation, to become a CPA Canada. All right. So a little bit about what I do. So at Niyash Consulting, we provide a number of services. So we provide consultation services, helping companies to find ways to strategize and better their business. We provide, of course, tax services when it comes to personal, corporate, payroll, HST, and investment, accounting services, bookkeeping. You can't go wrong with it. That is the fundamental, that is the foundation of everything. And of course, CRA audit. Now, I know that we do have people from all over the world. So I have worked with the CRA, which stands for Canada Revenue Agency. I've dealt with the IRS in the US, which is the Internal Revenue Services. In the UK, it is the HMRC, so Her Majesty's Revenue and Custom. And of course, back home, I've dealt with the Revenue Commissioner, which is all the CRA equivalent of all these individual countries. Okay, so when it comes to taxes, you have right, like literally, you have right when it comes to taxes. And as a taxpayer, every person or every company are required to pay taxes by law. It doesn't matter if you were born in Britain and you are growing up in Canada or Jamaica or Barbados, you still have to pay taxes no matter where you are. And of course, there is a tax bill. Now, this is a tax act. There is another thick book, which is the tax bill. And within that bill, they highlight 16 rights that you have when it comes to taxes. So the first question is, does anybody know the rights when it comes to paying taxes? Just give you a few seconds to think about it.
Joshua says nope. Let me see. Nikki, do you know any rights to paying your taxes?
Pay your taxes.
That's correct. Your right is to pay your taxes. Nelma says no. Godswill says no. Joy says, oh, what do you mean? Okay, so we're
Okay.
by that. Jenna says no. Anne says nope.
You have to
Ritik, I hope I pronounced that right, sweetie. I'm really sorry. You say you have to be over 18. Oh, I think Miss Gloria is gonna let us know. How old do you have to be to pay taxes? Nikki said
Well,
21.
so all in all, here in Canada, there are about 16 rights when it comes to taxes. So I'm not going to go through all of them because there are a lot, but you can quickly read. So I'll just point out about 3 or 4. So the second point here, you have the right to receive services in both official languages. So in Canada, there are 2, English and French. So you can request any documentation in any language that you feel comfortable with. In Ireland, there is English and Gaelic, which is Irish. You can request it in any of those languages. So that is your right, all right? The second one here is privacy. So whatever you submit to the Revenue Commissioner, the CRA, the IRS, or the HMRC, they cannot publicize it and say, yo, XYZ earned this much and they pay this much taxes. So that you have the right to privacy. So if ever the CRA break that privacy, you can actually take it further and sue them because they have no right to disclose to anybody unless you have given them permission to do so. Here, expect us to be accountable. So the CRA, they also have responsibility to be accountable. So they cannot just come up with new rules today and expect you to abide by them. That's why the budget comes months earlier to get people prepared when it comes to filing the taxes. And of course, the second last point here is to be represented by a person of your choice. So myself, as I am a CPA and I'm also accredited by the CRA, I can become your representative when it comes to accounting and taxes. So then you give me authority to communicate to the CRA on your behalf. So those are your rights. Feel free to look back and read it all. Okay. So now, of course, with every right, there are responsibilities, right? So what are your responsibilities when it comes to taxes? You have to report your income. Now for adult, this gets a little bit tricky, especially those that earn cash business, even kids, kids get a lot of cash. And I don't know if they ever report those cash, but technically you have the responsibility to report your income. And there are actually advantages on doing that. I'll get back to that. Of course, you have to file your taxes. That's how the taxman know how much you get paid. You have to file it on time. All across the world, if you file it late, there are interest. Go ahead, Stacy.
Thomas wants to know, what about entrepreneurs? Do they have to report their income like cash? So let's just say you're a barber or a waitress for your first job and you get tips and all of that. Is that what you're asking, Thomas? And Joshua wants to know, like cash, do you have to report that?
Yes, cash business, you do have to report every single income. And I will get to who should be reporting and filing taxes and the benefit of doing that. So remind me to get back to that cash question, because there is a lot of misconception that people kind of tend to say, well, I get cash, there is no way the taxman will know that I made that money. But when it comes to benefits, the taxman will need to know how much you make, how much you got paid. So I will get back to that, Stacy. All right, more
Good
questions.
question. We did have one more question. What is the CRA? I know it stands for the Canada Revenue Agency, but what exactly is that? They want to know.
Okay, few slides will explain to us what the CRA is, but the CRA is a governing body. It's a body set by the government who collects and administer taxes, and of course the government spending. CRA is known as the taxman.
Okay.
All right. So, quick question here. Do you think the above responsibilities are enough? As in, you have to report your income, you have to calculate your income, and you have to pay your taxes. Do you think that's enough responsibility? Should there be more or less?
Should there be more responsibility when it comes to your taxes? Oh, it says more.
All right, Mickey.
Blake says more too. Oh my goodness. God's will says yes, more. Woo, you kids. Let me see. Who said no? Thomas said no.
Okay, I agree.
Yes. Rafiki says more. Wow. You guys are all saying it's enough.
So the next slide here is, what is income tax? And the long explanation, don't worry, I'll break it down to a simple term. The official explanation of an income tax is a type of tax that government imposes on income generated by businesses and individuals within the province. So by law, a taxpayer must file an income tax annually to determine their obligations. In other words, income tax is tax on income earned. In other words, tax is a financial charge imposed on a taxpayer. So to give you a quick example to understand exactly what is income tax, imagine at home, you wash the dishes, you help your mom and dad. So then your parent, they might give you, let's say, $10 for being such a darling and helping them. Guess what? Within that $10, $1 is a tax charge. So for every income you earn, there is a charge to it. Nothing is for free in life. So then, who pays income tax? All right, go ahead, Stacy.
Can we go back to that last slide?
I think I can.
Awesome. So if your parents gave you $10, and then they charged you $1 in tax, what percentage in taxes are you paying?
10.
No, you can't answer, Miss Gloria.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me see. Ibby says 10%. Thomas says 10%. How are you paying 20% if it's $1?
Oh, it is? I didn't hear that.
It's okay. Micah says 10%. Let me see. Joshua is a smiley face with dollars. Jenna says 10%. Joshua says 10%. Egypt says 10%. Mickey now says
10%.
10%. Right? So your parents charged you at a 10% tax rate. Do you think that that's a lot or not a lot? 10%. Is charging you 10% on your money for your allowance a lot? Jenna says not a lot. Joy says a lot. Let's see.
10%.
Kelly says it's a lot.
10%
If only they knew the marginal rate.
Right? So maybe Miss Gloria will tell us later if paying 10% on your money in taxes, is that really a lot from the government standards or not? So let me see. You guys are very funny. Okay, it's not bad. It says, wait, you guys are going so fast. It's not bad. It's not a lot. Joshua, it's not a lot. Egypt's not a lot. Let me see. Bulu says it's not bad if you only had $1 though. It adds up. right? It adds up. All right, Miss Gloria, go ahead.
And speaking of the rate, the official term is actually marginal rate. And of course, here in Canada and in the US, there are two types of rates. There is the provincial rate and there is the federal rate, because those two countries, it's divided by the province or state and federal. In comparison to Ireland, it's only one. So you only have like one set of marginal rate. So here there are two types. And believe it or not, some parents can end up paying 58% of taxes. So there is no limit. It depends on how much you make. The more money you make, the more taxes you pay. But there are deductions, there are tax credits that can actually lower it. So that's another day's session, okay? I don't want to scare you guys off there. Okay.
Cheryl says, what?
Okay, so now who pay taxes? So you ask me, can a barber pay taxes? What if I make cash business? Do I have to pay taxes? Everyone pays taxes. As long as you make income, there are taxes to pay. Even if you're a dancer, a movie star, a singer, even yourself, even me, I have to pay taxes. Mickey, eventually you will be paying taxes. So we cannot avoid it, okay? It is just part of life, it's part of society. And thanks to those taxes, our economy keeps on moving, all right? So, okay, go ahead, Stacy.
Sorry, how old? What is there an age limit to when you would start paying taxes? The kids had this question earlier.
So technically, yes. And technically, no. So the yes part is you are not obligated, according to the Canadian law, you are not obligated to pay tax, to file your tax return until the age of 16. So once you reach 16 and you have a job, then you have to start filing your taxes. But if you're a 10-year-old, your mom and dad gives you $10 here, your grandmother gives you $1,000 for your birthday, you don't have to pay any taxes on that. All right. Any other questions?
So if you make money, you pay taxes. That's what Joy wants to know. Yes. So I think that's it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have two questions for you guys. The first one is, do you think you should pay taxes, and why do you think you should pay taxes? And of course, the second question, you can answer either. The second question is, who do you think should not pay taxes?
Let's see, what do the kiddies say here? So if you don't have a job, like if you're a kid, you don't have to pay taxes.
Yep, that is correct.
So if you, okay, so what are, oh, sorry, let me scroll down. Sorry, you guys are, okay, so if you're, okay, no, what if you never get a job? Then do you have to pay taxes even if you're young?
Well, if you never had a job, then you don't need to pay taxes. Remember, taxes are only comes in place when you have an income. So when you only have a job. So if you don't have a job, then you don't pay any taxes. There's nothing to pay on. There's nothing to base it on.
Awesome. Micah says in the UK, you start paying taxes when you are 16 and working.
Yes, same here in Canada, correct.
Egypt says, well, I don't think children under the age of 13 should pay taxes, even if they get an allowance.
Yes.
Normally, that's not much. I don't have allowance, but I'm gonna have to get a job soon, so I should pay taxes.
Yeah, and you know what? The good thing is, thank God, there are no taxes on allowance. So your parent can pay you millions of dollars in allowance, and you will pay zero taxes. But if you have an official job and they give you a tax slip, that's where the tax comes in. Okay? So we've talked about taxes, paying taxes, and all you think about is, oh my God, so I work to give somebody else's money? Like, why? So how does tax work? All right. So over here, so the tax money that you pay it actually goes to fund and support a lot of the government spending and the public's expenditures. So let's say you are technically the boss of the government because you give the government your money, okay? Because some people think as if the government is above them because of the laws that they impose on people. But technically, when it comes to taxes, the government would not exist without us, the taxpayer. So thank you, mom and dad, for supporting the economic, because without them, there will be zero economic, all right? So what are the government expenses that takes from tax money? Schools, public schools, they need our tax money. Hospitals, transportation, they all need the tax money that we pay. So then taxes, normally some countries, they deduct the tax before you get paid. So that's called a net pay. So your mom and dad can have a new job, they can pay them $100,000, but then at the end of the day, they only bring home 60,000 because the 40 goes to taxes, okay? So back to our example here of helping around the house. So remember that $10 pay that you received and the $1 was deducted as a tax? Well, guess what? That $1 went to buying bread and milk, paying for electricity. That's how taxes work. So you give out money in return for a benefit. So it's same with the government. We pay out taxes, and in return, the government gives us services for the taxes that we pay. Okay? So then, why do we pay taxes, right? Well, like I mentioned, we have to pay taxes so that the economy can keep on going, the government can keep going, and we can keep on living our lives. So let me give you a quick example from Ontario tax perspective. So here in Ontario, whenever you file your tax return, there is something that's called Ontario health tax. People, they don't really notice that. Some people, they don't even know. But then at the end of the day, that tax facilitates you to have an OHIP card. OHIP, which is the Ontario Health Program. You can go to the hospital, go see a doctor or whatsoever for free, quote unquote free. But in actual fact, you've already paid for that because taxes were deducted. Another example, let's say if you're a property owner, you pay property tax. And guess what? A portion of that property tax goes to funding schools, public schools. And in return, if your child goes to a public school, you, the parent, you do not pay any money whatsoever. So some people think as if, oh, let me go to Canada so that my kids can go to free school. It's not free because it's actually paid through the taxes. And the last example here is if you own a car, you pay a license plate sticker, and that money, a portion of that money goes to a better and safer road. So altogether, paying taxes is not really that bad because you get to benefit from it, all right? And of course, the last example, which some people love, is unfortunately, if you become unemployed, guess what? You can actually claim unemployment benefit. And that is from the taxes that you were collectively paying throughout your period of employment. So all in all, you pay taxes and you get benefit back in return. All right. I knew there was a question. Go ahead, Stacy.
There's a lot. I'm trying to read through them all. It's really active today. But Talicia wants to know if she is a YouTube star. So if she has a YouTube channel and she's under 16, does she have to pay taxes if she earns any money on her YouTube channel?
It will depend on how much she earns. So there is a threshold. So for example, in Quebec, let me just give an example from a different province. If you make less than $10,000, even in the whole of Canada, there are no taxes at all. So it depends on how much you actually make, because there are young folks, young celebrities that makes hundreds and thousands of millions, they will have to pay taxes. So that's where the amount that you earn comes in.
Perfect. Let me see. I think, did that answer your question? She said yes. Okay, thank you. She says, so now Blake says, so I want to make a YouTube channel. All right, go ahead, Miss Gloria.
All right, so a quick question for you guys. I just mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4 benefits of paying taxes. Can you think of any other benefits when it comes to paying taxes?
That was a lot of benefits. Let me see. What else do you guys think is a benefit of why we pay taxes in whatever country that you're in?
Loan.
A loan? You get a loan? Like what's the benefit? What do you get because taxes are paid, do you feel? School, says Madeline.
College.
Yeah.
Pay for college.
Pay for college. Well, the college is actually funded by your parent or your investments, but you can get an education loan, yes. Transportation, says Jenna. Oh, Rithiki says you get free health coverage.
And
the bombs sound effect, but it's not working great. So that was a good one.
And also, Miki said 2 things. She gave you 2 answers, which are actually true. You might believe it or not, but they're actually true. The first one, I'll actually go to the second one and then go back to the first one. The second one, she said for college.
Mhm.
I know in Ireland, because I grew up in Ireland, I can speak for Ireland and also in Canada here, is when you go to college, and of course, if it's private or university, your parents have to pay money towards your education, but you can get a government grant. And guess what? The government grant, it's based on your parents' income. So hence, that's why your parents, they have to declare how much they've paid, how much they've earned, and they also have to pay taxes, if any. So your parents will have to get the tax in order so that in the future you can apply for a grant. Same story in Ireland. If you want to get a grant or a bursary, they will base it on your parents' financials. So good answer, Mickey.
Awesome. Micah agrees
All
with
right.
you. Micah says university, college, and student grants. Awesome.
Yep.
Let me see. Somebody else said, Elias says to improve the infrastructure in the country.
Yes. Yes, that's very important. That's one of the things that sometimes you don't really realize, especially those in the Western world, as in Europe and the Americans. That's what they actually are good at. The infrastructure, the facilities, everything that is put in place, because there are other countries where people barely pay any taxes, and they expect the roads to be perfect. They expect the hospital to be a 5-star. You know, they expect the kids to go to school for free, and saying, well, in Europe, you know, kids goes there for free, but because they pay the taxes. So a paying tax, it's very, very fundamental for a country to function properly. Alrighty, so when do we pay taxes? There are 2 ways to pay taxes. If you get paid weekly, monthly, biannual, annually, or so taxes are deducted before you get paid, or it can be after you get paid. So the question for you guys, which do you prefer? Do you prefer to pay taxes before you get paid or after you get paid? And why?
Cheryl says after. Joshua says after. Egypt says we made, oh, I think you're talking about something else. Rithik says after. Thomas says after. Mickey says,
I'm still thinking.
Mickey's still thinking. And I'm not sure if you're going to cover this, Miss Gloria. I'm sure you probably are. But Summit wanted to know if there's a penalty for not filing your taxes.
Yes, there is. That's a big yes. The taxman will definitely charge you for not paying taxes. There is penalty, and there are also implications, because when you don't file your taxes, you may not be entitled to some benefits. So for example, here in Canada, there is the universal child benefit. And if the parents do not file the taxes, then the government will eventually stop paying the child benefit, because the child benefit amount It's assessed based on your income. So that's why you have to continuously file your taxes in order to gain those benefits.
Ah,
All right.
perfect. So
So
most of the kids are saying before. BE says before. Most of them are all saying before. No, they said after. Most of them said after, but a few said now before.
yeah.
And
So
Cheryl wants to know, if you don't pay taxes, can they take your money out of your bank account?
now, if you don't pay your taxes, can they take money out of your bank account? It depends. As in, once after you've filed your taxes, can they take money out of your bank account? It depends. And it also depends on how much. Technically, no. Technically, they cannot do that. But in the US, it's a whole different story. But here in Canada, once you file your taxes, you can owe $1,000, $1 million. They will never come to your bank unless they have the rights to do so. So be careful. The last thing you want is, that money that you're saving and the taxman coming for it. So be very, very careful.
They have a lot more questions, but can you kids hang on 1 second? I'm going to let Miss Gloria finish this slide, and then I'll get to more of your questions, okay?
Okay.
Oh, Mickey has her answer. What's your answer? Mickey says after to your question.
Okay, so guys, you have me sweating here because after is not good. Like, okay, imagine, here is a perfect example. Imagine you have this cake, all right? You have this beautiful, delicious birthday cake, and you have to share it with somebody. Now, what do? You first have to take the part, put it aside, and eat the remainder of your cake. Because if you take the whole cake and you eat it, guess what? That other person is going to come claiming their share of the cake. You will no longer have it, and you will run into problems and difficulties. Same with the government. It's best for them to take their share. And the good thing about here in Canada is you get to file your taxes. And if they owe you money, they give you back a refund. So it's better for the government to take their share first. And then once you filed your taxes, if you give them too much, they will give you back what they owe you. Because if you file your taxes and you get paid after, you'll finish all the money before you know it, okay? So always remember, you pay the tax man, take care of him, and you can live your life, all right?
So before is better.
Yes, if possible.
Okay, just let me get to two questions here, Miss Gloria. Samit wants to know, what is the penalty for not filing taxes? 1. And Blake wants to know, what if you don't have enough money?
They send you to the streets.
Mickey says they send you to the streets. I don't know which street. Which street?
The Old Town Road Street.
The Old Town Road Street.
So other penalties, yes, of course, there are penalties and interest. So if you file your taxes late, there are late payment, late filing penalties. And of course, if you owe money, the interest will start accumulating from the day that you file it. So always try your best to pay what you can. Now, the good thing about here in Canada and the CRA is, of course, we all go through financial difficulties and financial troubles. So you can always speak to them, call them, say, hi, I owe $1,000, but unfortunately, I lost my job and it's very, very hard for me to buy bread and milk for my kids. Can we come up with a payment structure? Instead of me paying you $1,000 right now, how about I pay you $10 every week? That's what I can afford. And of course, they will be more than happy to work with you. But remember, the interest will always accumulate until everything is fully paid.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so that answered your question, I believe also, Blake, right? If you don't have enough money, you can make.
Yeah, so if you don't have enough money to pay your taxes, like right now, 2020 has been very, very hard on everybody. all different levels. Even the rich man also suffered during COVID, and the poor man even suffered from COVID. So if you don't have any money, you can always talk to the government. Call the CRA, speak to somebody, reach out. You are never alone, especially when you come to taxes. It's already stressful enough. So whenever you feel stuck, call somebody, talk to somebody, find resources, how you can get help. So there is always help somewhere. If not, you can always Google.
Google. Last question before I let you get onto your last slide. Egypt wants to know, when you don't pay taxes, they will send mail telling you are late, and then they will destroy your credit score. Is that correct, Miss Gloria?
No.
Oh, see?
No.
Not true.
So you not paying your taxes has nothing to do with your credit score. If you owe somebody a house, a car, a credit card, a loan, a debt, rent, mortgage, you don't pay it, that's when it affects your credit score. But thank God, owing the CRA does not affect your credit score, because that would be a disaster for so many people.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to let Miss Gloria, everybody on the chat, continue on to her next slide. And then if there's more questions, I will read them back, okay?
Yes.
Your question, Egypt.
All right. So here is something very interesting. Do you know how a paycheck, a pay stub, a pay slip, call it whatever you want to call it, looks like? So here is a little screenshot of a sample pay stub. So every time you get paid, officially paid, because this does not apply to cash jobs. Cash jobs are not really properly recorded. So when it comes to cash job, the CRA are very, eye-opened when it comes to folks that get cash jobs and tips, because technically you are supposed to report everything, including the tips that you get. So that's part of you being an honest person. All right. But this in front of you here, it's a pay stub. So you have your normal job at the end of the week or month or year, they will issue you with a pay stub. All right, Stacy, go ahead.
Sorry, the kids want to know what's gross pay versus, so
Net pay?
wants to know what is gross pay.
All right. Oh, I will mention every single section. So not to worry, I will explain exactly what. All right. And of course, if I miss anything, feel free to let me know. So the first thing here, we have your name. So here we have Joseph Mayer. Here is your name, your employee number, and the employer number, because somebody that pays you is called an employer. And of course, they have a number which are registered with the CRA, IRS, Revenue Commissioner, or the HMRC. Next to the employer number, there is the pay period, because it has to cover which period you're actually getting paid. And the last section on top here is the date. So the dates that they actually pay you. So here is statement of earnings. So to one side, we have how much you've earned, and to the other side, we have the deductions. So let's say Mr. Joseph here, he gets paid $75. No, he gets paid $16 per hour. And for that week of November, he worked 75 hours. So you multiply 75 hours by the $16. At the end, for that week, he earned $1,200. Now, if he was getting his pay before taxes, he will pocket the full $1,200. But guess what? The taxman comes in. It's like your mother-in-law. Although I do love my mother-in-law, she's perfect. But other mother-in-laws, they just right there in your business. So on the deduction side, there is EI. So here in Canada, EI stands for employment insurance. As in, if you ever lose your job, if you get pregnant, you go on mat leave, you get unemployment. That's what some people call it. Or the official term is employment insurance. So that's get deducted. There is a CPP/QPP. So the CPP stands for Canada Pension Plan. And of course, because Quebec is a little special when it comes to Canada, they have their own version, which is QPP, which is for Quebec Pension Plan. And of course, at the bottom here, we have our taxman, income tax. So at the end, although all this time we've been only talking about income tax, there's actually 3 taxes, but the actual tax is just the income tax. So confusing. I'm sorry, guys, but just let that sink in, all right? So at the bottom here is the summary. So the gross pay is what somebody asked, what is gross pay? Gross pay is the payments that you earned before any deduction whatsoever. It's gross. It's big, gross, it's big. And then, of course, deductions of $231. And then your net pay, which is what you get at the end after the deduction, which is $968. And of course, here, the check number, if you get paid by check, some people get paid straight into their bank account. The last line here is year to date, because everything is cumulative. So your pay is from day one, whatever you've earned, deductions from day one, and your net pay from day one. So that's how a sample statement of earning pay stub looks like all around the world. The only difference is the type of deductions. Every country, they have a different name for their deductions. So questions, bring it on.
Let me see. They wanted to know what was gross, but you did explain that. So I think that we're okay now with gross. Can you please repeat, do you get a pay raise? Every year in a job, do you get a pay raise? Oh, Cheryl wants to know, every year in a job, do you get a pay raise? And Jenna wants to know, can you please repeat what gross pay means? Sorry. So Jenna wants to know, what does gross pay mean?
Okay. So the first question is, do you get a raise? It depends on who you work for. It depends on which company. Every company, they have their own policy. So if a particular company, they have a policy where you get a raise or a bonus, depending on your performance, then yes, you do get it. In fact, my opinion, which nobody asked, but my opinion, every single company should raise your pay, because the inflation rate increases every single year. Everything goes up. Bread, milk, gas, electricity, everything goes up. So it will only make sense for your pay to also go up. But unfortunately, it depends on individual companies. Second question, gross pay. Gross pay is the pay that you get before any deduction. It is pure, if I can use that word. It is like hot cash, Nobody has touched it. So that is gross. It's the full amount. That's the word. It's your full pay before any deduction.
Perfect. Ibby wants to know, so if you work in a restaurant and get tips, do you also have to record that? Your tip?
Yes. You do have to record how much tips you get. And when you file your taxes, you do have to declare the amount of tips that you received. Although some people don't do it because it's cash business, but at the end of the day, if you're honest, the world will be honest back at you sometimes.
Perfect. I think that is it.
Okay, so over to the next slide. So once again, I thank you guys. Now you know a little bit about income tax, and of course you can make better financial decisions when it comes to taxes. And you also get to appreciate your parents' work, because believe me, it is not easy to go to work, or now that we stay home to work. And when you get paid, taxes are already deducted and you have so many bills to pay. So yeah, so that's me. And I have all of this knowledge thanks to this beautiful Bible of mine. I don't sleep with it, but I keep it close to my heart, because this is what we need in order to make this world a better place. We offer many types of services. So if anybody has any questions offline, I believe Stacy has my email address, my contact detail. Feel free to share with them. I'll be happy to answer to any questions, especially folks that lives in the US or work from the US, the cross border. That happens a lot. And the services that we offer you guys is for the whole year. So if we are to file your taxes, guess what? We will be with you for that whole entire year. If you have any questions, if the CRA audits you, if the CRA asks you any questions within that year, we will represent you. We will answer on your behalf and at $0. There are no extra charges. And of course, we experience with the CRA here in Canada, IRS in the US, HMRC in the UK, and of course, our lovely revenue commissioners in Ireland. All right, guys, I think that's all for me. Any questions? I'm all ears.
Is there any questions from the kitty? Yay, Miss Gloria. Everybody, thank Miss Gloria for sharing her knowledge with all of us today. That was phenomenal. Let me just see, let me write back. Everybody saying thank you. Talissa is saying, my mom would like your contact information, please. So Miss Gloria can either put that in the chat, but just so you know, on every single KiddieNomics webinar, I do post it on YouTube. On every single post on YouTube, if you scroll down in the description, always has the contact information for the expert that is speaking for that webinar. So you will be able to find Miss Gloria's contact information on the YouTube post. So if you check out our channel, I will have this video posted, as I said, by 8 p.m. tonight. So you will see Miss Gloria's contact information there. And just to let everybody know, in case you guys do not read the descriptions for the videos, I also post an activity to go along with each webinar that we've had, right? So Janaya, don't go yet. I still have to wrap up. So I see you're saying bye. Hold on. I still have to do my 5 minutes. Oh, there's Miss Gloria's contact information. And so hang on, let me wrap up. But thank you very much, Miss Gloria. Let me share my screen.
You're welcome.
Oh, Miss Gloria, can you stop sharing your screen for me, please?
There you go.
There we go. Perfect. Okay. All right. Just another 5 minutes, kiddies. All right, so here's my question that we ask for every single KiddieNomics webinar. What would happen if kids became more financially literate? And our answer is real change that impacts the world. Because guess what? The more financially literate that you become, the better decisions and choices that you will make that will positively impact you and the things that you do in this world. So whether or not it is that you want to be a doctor and you're going to find the cure for cancer or, you know, COVID, whatever that is, having financial literacy skills will definitely help you get there, right? So the next thing is, we call you financial literacy ambassadors. What is an ambassador? An ambassador is a person that's an authorized messenger or representative. And what does that mean is, I want you guys to share your knowledge. Share the things that you learn here on KiddieNomics. Share it with your family and your friends and your community, because the knowledge that you gain here, a lot of other people don't have it, even a lot of adults, right? So you're going to share this knowledge and then invite them on to KiddieNomics. Tell them to come on, join us here. We have fun, right? So join us on KiddieNomics, because guess what? Knowledge is our superpower. So share it, okay? All right. Let's talk about our upcoming week so you guys know what's going to be here for next week. We are going to have Mr. Bruce Celery. Mr. Bruce has a radio show on Sirius XM. So he's a Sirius XM host, which is amazing. His show is called Moolah La, and he talks all things money, right? So he's going to do something really special tomorrow, or not tomorrow, sorry. Next week, Friday, on Friday, January 29th, he's going to do conscious spending for kids. What does that mean? Well, he's going to talk about how to get a yes from your parents when you want something, and conscious spending on, I don't even know if I want Nikki to have this webinar.
Yes, fine. I can spend my money.
I don't know, but this is going to be a fun one for the kids, right? Then after that, we're going to have Miss Colleen. We're going to talk about real estate investing, and we're going to talk about cash flow in specific. And that's going to be on Friday, February 5th, which is the day after my birthday.
Happy birthday.
And then we're going to have the return of Miss Billie Jane. We love Miss Billie Jane. She's going to return on KiddieNomics, and she's going to do RESPs for kids, which is Registered Education Savings Plan, which is a savings plan for kids so that they can save up for their college or university funds. And then, sorry, I didn't continue, but I do have a special request. So we do have a special guest coming up in March. We are having, you know her, Dr. Jill Andrew, who is the MPP for a Toronto riding. So she's a politician. And so she would like to know some questions that you will have for her. So we're going to have a different format for her presentation in March, and it's going to be more of an interview style than more of a presentation style. So if you ever had a question for a politician that you would like to ask, I'm going to pick a few questions from you kiddies, right? Also, please keep in mind that this is a financial literacy course, so try to get your questions in that's relating to financial literacy. So whether or not it's money or investments, or you know, the stock market, or mortgages, or housing, let's ask her these questions, because she's going to come on and answer some of these questions for you guys. So that's going to be a super fun one. So I need you guys to participate in this one, and I'm going to pick a few questions. I need you guys to send me an email at KiddieNomics101@gmail.com. And just email me a couple of your questions, and I will pick a few, and we will have this great interview with Dr. Jill Andrew. So in addition, we always want to hear from you. I want to know what topics you guys want to talk about. Let me know, because listen, this show is for you guys. So if you have something on your mind that you want to learn, I want you guys to email it to me and let me know, right? Some of you guys have, and some of you haven't. So please, I'm always here. Send me an email, or please contact us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. I am so tired about TikTok. We have a TikTok account. We have no video on TikTok because this one is supposed to start our video.
She won't even let me have her phone to do it.
Oh, okay. If you say so.
All right, Mickey.
I know, right? We're supposed to learn a dance. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn a dance. Anyways, always contact me, contact us on any of these channels. And please don't forget to like and share our posts, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Yes. So if you guys like this information, don't forget not to just watch the videos, but please subscribe to our channel, hit that bell,
yes,
and like the post, okay? All right, that's it. Thank you. Yes, Blake, I should learn the renegade dance. I need to learn that one for TikTok. That's a very old one now, but I will eventually learn that one. Anyways, that's it. Thank you again, Miss Gloria. You did amazing. Thank you, all the kiddies. We will see you next week with Mr. Bruce, and bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.